or anything like that. So as far as him being inside that courtroom, it was still the same old Diddy that we've seen, kind of in the same old outfit that we've seen him in as well.
Burning questions that need answers. 1. Did Kim know about Diddy's alleged crimes, or was she just lucky enough to bail before the storm hit?
The courtroom was tense, packed with reporters, lawyers, and a few stunned celebrities quietly slipping into the back rows. All eyes were on Kim Kardashian, who, dressed in a sleek black suit and projecting calm composure, took the stand once again. No one expected her to return, yet here she was, ready to deliver testimony that would send shockwaves across the entertainment industry. And at the center of it all, with sweat beginning to bead on his forehead and fists clenched under the table, was Sean "Diddy" Combs. This time the spotlight wasn't music, fashion, or money. This was about truth. And the truth had claws. Like and subscribe if you want more real, raw courtroom drama and celebrity justice breakdowns. Kim didn't hesitate. She spoke with precision, recounting moments that were buried for years. Contracts, private parties, off-the-record conversations, and subtle threats. She wasn't on trial. She was a witness, and she was done protecting people. One name kept coming up in her testimony: Diddy. The rapper and mogul sat just feet away, jaw visibly tightening with every word she spoke.
Actually, more so, how would the cross-examination and how would Diddy's defense attorneys kind of be able to pull apart essentially her credibility?
His legal team whispered frantically behind him, flipping through folders and legal pads, trying to prepare for what looked like a storm they hadn't anticipated. At one point, the judge had to pause proceedings as Diddy raised his voice, interrupting Kim mid-sentence. "She's lying! She's doing this for clout!" he shouted. The gavel slammed down hard. The judge warned him that one more outburst would result in removal from the courtroom. But Diddy couldn't help himself. His legacy, his empire, was being dissected by a woman he once called a friend of the industry.
VIP parties and instant unfollows. Oh no, with Diddy's empire crumbling under federal raids, Kim's legal team is in overdrive.
Now she was exposing him under oath. Kim testified that in 2015, during a weekend retreat in the Bahamas, she had seen Diddy engage in behavior she considered inappropriate, threatening, and manipulative. She said NDAs were thrown around like party favors, and that women were encouraged to stay quiet or get blackballed. She mentioned a heated moment in a recording studio where an up-and-coming artist was reduced to tears after Diddy allegedly berated her in front of the entire crew. "We weren't allowed to talk about it. No one was. He had power," Kim said calmly. But just because someone's powerful doesn't mean they're untouchable. Diddy banged his fist on the table again. His attorneys grabbed his arm, trying to calm him. The cameras weren't allowed in the courtroom, but the sketch artist captured the fury in his eyes and the controlled, cutting delivery from Kim.
Or anything like that. So as far as him being inside that courtroom, it was still the same old Diddy that we've seen, kind of in the same old outfit that we've seen him in as well.
Outside, the media were in a frenzy. Leaks from courtroom insiders hit social platforms before the judge even recessed. Twitter, now X, exploded. Instagram stories lit up. There's Kardashian testifies and Osho Diddy meltdown trended within minutes. A clip of Kim walking out of the courthouse went viral, her only words to the press: "I told the truth." Inside, Diddy was unraveling. As Kim's testimony ended and she left the stand, he stared her down, his lips moving in silent fury. She didn't look back. The judge called for a recess, and that's when things got worse. According to witnesses, Diddy stormed into the hallway, screaming at his team, smashing his hand against the marble wall and yelling, "She wasn't supposed to say that!" Security had to intervene as he started pacing violently, slamming his phone to the floor and kicking a nearby bench. This wasn't just damage control anymore. This was total collapse.
Burning questions that need answers. 1. Did Kim know about Diddy's alleged crimes, or was she just lucky enough to bail before the storm hit?
The Kardashian team made no further public comments, but sources close to the family said Kim felt relieved but emotionally exhausted. She had allegedly resisted testifying until a subpoena forced her to choose between staying silent or finally saying what she saw. And what she saw, she told friends, still haunts me.
Examination part, I thought that maybe she would get a little emotional because she just appeared maybe a little nervous, maybe a little intimidated, not necessarily sure, but she...
Diddy's past, once obscured by platinum records, vodka deals, and red carpet glamour, was now under a microscope, and Kim Kardashian, of all people, had become the unlikely voice pushing that microscope forward. Her testimony gave legitimacy to what had long been whispered behind closed doors in the industry. Producers, stylists, assistants, people with NDAs and trauma began quietly reaching out to journalists and lawyers. One former tour manager anonymously told a podcast, "Everyone knew how he operated. We just didn't think anyone would ever go on record, let alone Kim." The irony was bitter. A reality TV icon was now the center of real-life justice, and her platform, once mocked, was now doing what the courts had struggled with for years, bringing light to power's darkest corners.
Fun. They were crossroads where empires met, where alliances formed, and where the seeds of both collaboration and controversy were planted.
Diddy's publicist tried to put out the fire, releasing a boilerplate statement calling the testimony false, vindictive, and full of inaccuracies. But even that felt hollow. No lawsuit was threatened. No specifics were refuted, just vague denials. His team canceled an upcoming event for his liquor brand, citing scheduling conflicts. Behind the scenes, multiple brand deals reportedly hit the pause button, waiting to evaluate reputational risk. Back in court, the prosecution requested more time to prepare additional subpoenas. Rumors swirled that Kim's testimony had opened doors to further allegations, some criminal, some civil. A lawyer close to the case said, "This isn't about gossip anymore. It's about pattern, access, and silence being weaponized."
It appeared like she just didn't want to be there. You could tell that she was very uncomfortable, especially talking about her recollection of her time that she had worked with Diddy.
Even the entertainment industry, so often complicit in turning a blind eye, began shifting its tone. Several artists unfollowed Diddy on social media. A streaming platform quietly removed one of his documentaries from the homepage. A major music award committee announced they were reviewing the eligibility of past nominees based on conduct. This wasn't cancellation. This was scrutiny. Diddy's once invincible aura had cracked. Every interview, every deal, every smiling photo now seemed tinted with a different light. Kim's testimony didn't accuse him of one singular act. It accused him of creating an entire ecosystem where fear, power, and silence reigned. And now that system was collapsing.
2 degrees. And nowhere is this more evident than when we look at Sean Diddy Combs and his connections to America's most famous family.
As the court resumed, Diddy appeared more subdued. The sunglasses were gone. The bravado had dimmed. He no longer barked at his lawyers or glared at witnesses. He just sat there staring ahead, as if finally realizing that the world he once controlled with money, fame, and connections was slipping through his fingers. The final moment that day came when the judge announced more testimonies would follow. Diddy leaned back, closed his eyes, and whispered something no one could hear. But the expression on his face said everything. The storm had arrived, and Kim Kardashian, once mocked for being famous for nothing, had just changed the game by speaking up for something that mattered.